Now, as some of you know, we are currently discussing all the stages on the path, developing the meditation practice step by step, integrating a new step every week. And so today we're starting with what I call the inner toolbox. But first, as customary, I'll just go really quickly through all the stages that we've so far covered, which always starts with the preparation. So you go basically through three elements of preparation. So the first one being your posture. Posture should be upright, at the same time relaxed. So during the meditation session, you can't, if you're not in a meditation session, you can just relax your body as it's comfortable. While you're in the meditation session, you want to make sure that you're not only upright and comfortable, but at the same time as well still. You know, learn to keep the body as still as possible. That takes time. It is something to develop, and it is very, very necessary. If the body isn't still, if you're fidgeting around a lot, then we're caught up in the body, then we cannot let go of the body. Part of meditation practice is about letting go of the body, letting go of the senses, so that you can experience the mind on its own without having the interference of the senses. Normally right now, the way we experience our mind is via the senses. So we're not experiencing the mind as such. We're experiencing the mind filled with sound, the mind filled with sight, the mind filled with all kinds of vibrations, yes, from the five senses and from thinking. If you want to experience the mind as such, without these influences, without these inputs, in its pure natural form, then it's important to let go of the senses, to go beyond the senses. We can't do that efficiently, but we're constantly caught up in the body. So in the beginning we learn to sit still, upright and relaxed. Second preparation is your breath. You want to take a few deep breaths to ventilate the body and clarify the mind. Then the third preparation is the attitude. The attitude is supposed to be kind and compassionate throughout the entire practice. And then you come into the first stage of the practice when you have established those three preparations. The first stage is about relaxing the body, or allowing the body to relax. It's a bit of a better way to put it. So basically you want to get out of the way, pay attention to your body, see where you're tense, where you're caught up in your body, and learning to relax, to allow the tension to dissolve. That leads us to the second stage. The second stage is present moment awareness. In present moment awareness, we let go of the tension of future and past, of thinking about what's next, anticipation, or thinking about what happened, regret, memory, etc. So not going into either the moment ahead or the moment just before. So you want to make sure that you stay absolutely in the moment. Okay? When that deepens, you really come into that moment in a very refined way, then you enter the third stage, which is silent present moment awareness. Due to the intense awareness of what's going on in that moment, you have no more time to talk to yourself. So what falls away in the third stage is talking to ourselves in our own heads. All forms of verbalization then just drop. And you experience the mind without words. You see, the first one is the mind experiencing a relaxed, spacious body. Second one is the mind without future and past. Third one is the mind without words. It becomes more and more simple. Now the fourth stage, we're developing the mind without movement. We bring the mind to the breath. This is beginning of breathing meditation. We keep the mind with just one experience. So the mind doesn't oscillate and move around between different experiences, like going to the sound of the chicken outside, then coming back to feeling your knee, then going to the head, feeling the head, then hearing the fountain, then coming back to the breath, etc. This is quite chaotic still. Even though it might be silent, you're aware of what goes on around you, but your attention is still wandering. So in stage 4, we are quieting the attention. So it becomes very still, the mind becomes very still. That becomes much more simple. And a simple mind is an empowered mind, is a very strong mind. The simplicity of your mind is happiness. If the mind is scattered and if the attention is all over the place, it's impossible to experience genuine happiness. What you will experience then from time to time is a form of excitement, like laughter or short moments of joy in life, but profound, deep happiness, most people don't know what that is, because their mind is never still enough for them to actually tap into that. So if you really want to experience true happiness, deep happiness, profound happiness, both in body and mind, then it is important to specifically train for it. Otherwise, we only get ever the happiness of the senses, which is subject to change, isn't it? And it always also is connected to a problem. Every time we experience some form of happiness, then we gain something, someone else has to lose something. The world is in this dual way. Everything is interconnected. So, for example, to have the convenience, the invention of plastic, it is a convenience. When plastic was first invented, it was the most amazing thing. Imagine all the possibilities. But what happens with that amazing solution, that amazing invention later? What's happening down the road? We could have never foreseen that our oceans are now full of it, totally polluted by plastic. That microplastics are everywhere, in every stream, in every water. We couldn't have foreseen that, right? So the solution is at the same time a problem. That's the happiness of the world. If you celebrate your birthday, we don't feel it is connected to death. We don't know that we're at the same time celebrating death. But nobody comes into a birthday party going, Happy Death Day. Yes? Death is not considered to be a happy event. It's considered to be a sad event, difficult, loss. Now see, the solution is gain. The problem that comes with the solution is loss. If we are attached to beauty, then we suffer the ugly. If we're attached to youth, then we suffer old age. If we're attached to the solution, then we suffer the problems. If we're attached to health, then we suffer illness. This is the duality of life. And so our happiness is bound up with that. If we don't go any deeper, we never get to know genuine happiness. What is genuine happiness? It is a type of happiness which is not stuck to circumstances. So if your life, for example, if someone says something nice to you, you look great today. It's good to have you or something, yes? You feel happy, you smiled, yes? It's very simple. To make a person happy, you give them a compliment. They feel happy. If you hear the opposite, then what happens? You're not happy. You go down with what you're hearing, or you go up with what you're hearing. And that way we are a slave to other people's words, for example. Or we are a slave to the circumstances in which we are living. Or we are a slave to, yes, praise and blame, gain and loss. If we gain something, we're happy. If we lose it, then we're not happy anymore, etc. Yeah, and then there is a type of happiness which is happiness without reason. You could call it like that. It is a genuine form of happiness which comes right out of the core of your mind, your heart. It does not depend on circumstances. But before we can actually experience this kind of very refined happiness, we can upgrade our experience of happiness, so to say. The more silent the mind becomes, the more still it becomes, the more you're getting in touch with that deeper aspect of yourself. The more you are charged by it, informed by it. So your actions are informed by that deeper happiness. They come out of that. So we're not doing things anymore in order for those things to later make us happy, but we're doing things out of happiness. It's the other way around. In the world we usually learn, well, in order to be happy, you need A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. If you do not have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, you can't be happy. That's what we learn. You got to be productive, you got to consume, you got to have this, have that, you got to look like this, walk like that, talk like this, know that. Only then are you privileged to experience happiness. But deeper levels of happiness is not the case. What if you could directly access happiness without any indirect means? You wouldn't have to first get the relationship or first get the win or the lottery or something like this so you can feel happy. But happiness is right there. You feel it within, right? So that already could be a hint. It could show us, oh, wait a second. I'm not feeling happy. The happiness is not in the car. It's not in the metal or the plastic or the rubber. It doesn't contain happiness. So all I need to do is enter that rubber metal box so I can feel the happiness. But actually, the happiness that I feel it within. That could be a hint already. We could see, wait a second, I feel that inside. It doesn't come from outside. And so with meditation, we're discovering these states. We're going deeper into... It's almost like striptease. You let go of stuff. You let go of things that are not you. Clothes. We're confusing ourselves with so many things. So gradually you let go of those things. And you discover, oh, I'm still here. Like, for example, you let go of sight, sound, smell, taste, feeling, thinking, and you discover you're still here. But how are you still here? That's the question. Because now all the things that we're used to, that we know, are gone, but you're still here. So how would that experience be like? Well, happy. But happiness without a cause. You can say it like this, kind of like of course it has a cause, but it's happiness without stuff. It's just you at the very basic level, your being. So all the things that we do in meditation practice, they lead us there. Now just blindly focusing on the breath, it's kind of okay, it will get you places. But in order to do that at the best possible level, you want to do it in a refined and clever or skillful way. So that's why today I'm starting with this series of the toolbox, the inner toolbox. Things that you use in meditation practice that actually help you to go into a more simple, into a more profound state of meditation. Right? And the first tool that we cover is kindness. The word for it used in Pali language is Metta. So Metta means something like goodwill or kindness. Very often it's translated as also loving kindness. The root of kindness is acceptance. So accepting something is very kind. So I always give this example. Imagine I would follow you around for the whole rest of the day. And I'm always just one step behind you. And I'm constantly telling you what to do. Relax now. Watch your breath. You've been distracted there. Back to your breath. And wherever you go, that's where I am. You're in the shower, I'm right one step behind you, telling you what to think about. You should now think about this. Think about what you're going to do tomorrow, please, for the next 10 minutes. And then I would like you not only to just think about what you're going to do tomorrow, but I would like to worry about it. I'd like you to feel miserable about it. Go ahead. And then as you're worrying, I give you the opposite instruction. I tell you, no, don't worry. Stop worrying. You shouldn't be worrying. You should actually enjoy the shower. Please enjoy the shower now. And so I do that the whole day long. How would you feel about me being there by the end of the day?
You would not survive the end of the day.
I would not survive the end of the day, yes. I would probably end up dead. Yes. So this is unbearable, obviously, yes. If I would be doing that to you, it would be absolutely unbearable. But here is the thing that we tend to overlook. I don't need to do that to you. You're doing it to yourself. Continuously. You're constantly looking at yourself, judging yourself, talking to yourself, finding fault with yourself,
criticizing yourself, etc., etc. Most people are dealing with themselves in a highly negative way, not very uplifting. Unless you've already received some sort of training, then that might have changed, thanks to the training. But naturally, most people are quite self-disparaging. They're not very kind to themselves at all. When they have some success, they quickly forget. When they make a mistake, they dwell on it. I just made a mistake. Oh my God, I made a mistake. When someone else comes to them and says something good to them, man, you look really good today. We appreciate it shortly and then we quickly forget it. But if someone says something bad about you, carry it for days and weeks with you. When you see something that is not nice, you carry it around, thinking about it again and again. It doesn't let you sleep at night. Right? So most people live lives like this, where their inner voice is constantly giving them hell, giving them a hard time, more or less. And of course, I said some people, they have enjoyed some proper training. They already know what to do with their mind. So, for example, they focus more on gratitude. They focus on things that are good for them. They're nice, healthy, happy, positive, uplifting. When they have some success, they acknowledge it. They dwell on it. When they make a mistake, they also see it, they acknowledge it. They just simply vow to themselves not to repeat that and keep on living. They let it go. They let the past be the past. They're relatively light and at ease and relaxed with themselves. So that kind of relaxation is a result of kindness. Now, how would you feel about me at the end of the day, that I've been following you just one step behind you all the time? Suddenly I would leave. I'd say, okay, I have to go somewhere. I'll be back in an hour. How would you feel about that hour? Free. And that's a result of kindness. That's what kindness really is. It's that moment when you leave yourself alone. When you're simply just okay with who you are. There's nothing to change, nothing to do. You just leave it. You take your hands off. Stop bullying yourself, stop harassing yourself, stop demanding, controlling, managing, directing. Stop it. In that moment, your mind goes, oh, that is nice. That guy is gone. That the controlling influence is gone. And that is what kindness really means on a deep level. It is rooted in acceptance. Can you accept yourself? And maybe saying accepting yourself is a bit too abstract. Maybe let's say, can you accept your feelings? It's a bit more direct, more practical. Can you allow your feelings to be what they are? Feelings. And feelings come and go and change, and sometimes they feel like this, and sometimes they feel like that. Are you okay with that? Can you allow your feelings to do their thing? How about your thoughts? Can you allow your thoughts to do their thing? So what do you think happens to your thoughts when you let them do their thing? You're not following them, and you're not pushing against them. You just let them do their thing. They will disappear. You can actually start to relax then. Because you're not busy anymore trying to arrange your thoughts. Just like you would not try to arrange your liver activity. Why would you need to arrange your brain activity? Just leave your brain alone. Let it do its thing. Mostly what your brain does is it kind of just wants to get rid of stuff that has been accumulating. And you're kind of like in a position like a guard that stands on a door. And the brain just releases all that crap that it's been harboring for ages. You're sitting in meditation and the brain just vomits it all out. So what do? Let it do that. Let it make itself empty. There will be a point when your brain has nothing else to say. If you're not following it and if you're not pushing against it, it will become empty. That's the third stage. And all because of kindness. If you really want to have good meditation sessions, kindness is the number one thing to actually apply. It's the number one tool to apply throughout the practice. Kindness does not mean, by the way, that you have to like something. Like if I feel anger, for example, rising up in my meditation practice, if there is anger, I do not have to like it. I don't have to smile to the anger and feel warm and fuzzy about it. There's no need. But there's a need for me to leave the anger alone and let it do its thing, to give it space, so it can leave. So in a way I can say I'm setting it free. I'm not holding onto it. And that is a tricky thing to learn in meditation practice, is to neither push against nor to follow something, but to just let it pass by. Let your body and your mind heal themselves. It's what they do best. Ego or self or that voice in our head cannot do that. It's impossible. You can't heal the body and the mind. Every attempt of healing would just further mess things up. If it comes from that, let me heal myself. Better not. Let your body do that. Your body does that 1,000 times better than you. And your mind does that 1,000 times better than you. That's good news. So you can let them do their thing. The only thing is when something scary comes up, just don't touch it. Give it space, let it be there. Let it dissolve in your space. And I don't have to like my anger when it comes up. I just simply allow it. I might feel dislike, so can I allow that too? For example, I'm hearing the sounds outside there. I don't like them particularly. It's construction noise, so I'm not a fan of it. Now when I hear that, there's naturally dislike, aversion against it, right? I don't like it, I feel a bit like grumpy. Can I allow that? Is that okay? Yes, it is. I let myself feel that. Instead of resisting and saying, well, I should feel happy about it. Look, all these people have work. It's wonderful. They could be unemployed. I mean, I could do that too. I could think about how wonderful it is that they have work and feel grateful for them and whatnot. But that's not me. I can't do that. For me, it would be very fake to try to do that. So instead of doing that, first, I would just allow myself to feel whatever it is that I feel. Just be honest about it. It is very common in the circles of spiritual people nowadays to pretend, to put on a spiritual persona, the holy me. And then we run around and we don't say hi, we say namaste. We don't say amen, we say om. And it turns into this very funny ego thing. We don't wave our hands, we fold them, just like I did in the beginning of the meditation. It's all this spiritual thing, isn't it? It's all this persona. It's not about that. Not at all. It's not about talking with a soft voice. Because I'm a meditator, now I need to talk with a soft voice. And I always need to smile wherever I am. I just need to be happy and smile. Everything is great, we're all one. The world is a wonderful paradise. It's all, everything is this powerful creation of kindness and love. But that's not how I really feel deep down inside. That I might put on these clothes of the spiritual me, even change my name. Why? Because I'm deeply afraid of who I really am. And I'm deeply afraid of things that are down in my basement, nicely locked, rotting away slowly.
I don't want to face that. But I'd rather just put on this nice external image. That's not spiritual practice. And kindness, for a lot of people who do that precisely, what does that do? It reveals things that you do not want to see. And for many, it's a bit of a shock then. Oh, wait a second, it's not all warm and fluffy and nice. I have a whole lot of hate that I do not want to look at. I have a whole lot of nightmares at night that I do not want to share with my friends. I do not want to share with my friends that I can't sleep at night, that I need all these videos and sleeping music and stories and all that kind of stuff to help me sleep at night, because I can't sleep. A lot of stuff goes on like that. A lot of people. You'd be surprised. Some of the most happy people that I know, externally happy, they have some of the darkest stories to tell about their lives and how they really feel. And so they just usually only open up in a situation where they feel safe enough to do so, like a counseling situation or something like that. But we can't do that in the world. We can't afford to have all these dark feelings that we do have, so we kind of push them aside. We don't want to face them. Some of the ultimate expression of kindness is to give space to them, to allow our darkness to shine. Or in other words, to allow our darkness to receive awareness and attention and kindness, so that it can heal. It's like shining light into a dark room. As soon as you shine the light, as soon as you illuminate it, then the light will naturally dispel the darkness. But not because we're not fighting against the darkness. It doesn't work. But light naturally eliminates it. You could actually say that the majority of good meditation practice, the majority of good practice of kindness is actually shadow work. It's not light work. I don't particularly like the word light work. I'm a light worker. Because it kind of pushes aside what we don't want. Namely the dark feelings and the hurt and the pain and the wounds that we carry in our mind. I'm doing light work. But if you see it in the proper way, it means you're shining that light. What are you shining it on? That light. And what is that light? What is the illuminating quality? It is awareness. It is what we are all looking for awareness, for being received in that aware, kind space. And so shining the light into the world of shadow, that is true kindness. It's like truly receiving all of you. And I'm particularly today mentioning the shadow aspect because it's easy to receive the light aspect. It's easy to be joyful about good things, etc. Even though some people, they do not experience that. They have a hard time with actually seeing what's good because there is some shadow aspect in between. It doesn't allow them to enjoy themselves. So it has to be dealt with first. It's quite a complex work to do that. And if you do that well, if you're actually receiving yourself as you are, always in this moment, and you learn to be accepting about it and okay with it, then there is a rapid development in spiritual practice. There's a rapid deepening. And meditation naturally grows deeper from that point. But as long as we're in conflict with ourselves, as long as we're fighting against things that are happening in our experience, it's going to be a hard thing to relax. We can't relax as long as we're fighting truth. It's impossible. So yeah, kindness fulfills exactly that aspect of acceptance in our meditation practice. You bring it into every stage.
In the first stage, being kind to your body, smiling into your body, receiving your body just the way it is, learning to be okay with it, understanding it, reading it. Let it tell you what it needs. Then the second stage, being okay with this moment, the way this moment is, the way it unfolds. Are you all right with that? Is it allowed to be like that? Are you allowed to be like that? The third, silence, experiencing silence, and experiencing it with kindness, appreciating it, respecting it, enjoying it. The same with your breath, bringing kindness into the breath, treating your breath as your best friend, so that your breath enjoys coming back to you. It doesn't have to run away from you. Because you're not here to control it. You're here to appreciate it, to learn from it, to make friends with it. So that way our mind is not so distracted. It likes to come back. So on every stage, it is kindness which will produce the deepening. It was kindness that will allow you to relax and to drop the tension that keeps you stuck in one stage. So I encourage you to take that into your practice and experiment with that, play with it, to know how can I integrate kindness into my meditation practice? What does it mean, accepting? And what difference does it make if I actually do that? So I encourage you to actually practice these things and take them into your meditative spiritual work, whatever you're doing, so that you are manifesting skills which are of benefit to yourself and others all around you. Good, so that's pretty much all that comes to mind for today. Are there any questions?